President Biden is out there campaigning, which is always a good sign that things are changing for Republicans in a positive way. But he had this to say while he was eating his ice cream. Take a listen.
I'm not concerned about the strength of the dollar. I'm concerned about the rest of the world. Does that make sense? Can you explain that? Yes. Our economy is strong in the internal. Inflation is worldwide. It's worse off everywhere else than it is in the United States. So the problem is the lack of economic growth and sound policy in other countries, not so much ours.
Okay, so I'm bringing in Harry Hutchison, Director of Policy. Harry, first of all, he says the problem is not the U.S., not the leader of the free world and one of the leader financially of the world, but it's the rest of the world where our economy is great, strong as can be. But it's the other part of the world. Like we have no impact on that.
Yes, I think Biden continues to demonstrate his ineptitude and the fact that he is tone deaf. He also clearly indicates that he doesn't understand the economy, and clearly he doesn't understand how disastrous his economic record is. And so this disastrous economy under Joe Biden continues to implode, I think, at a record pace. First, we should note that we entered recession territory in July, several months ago, but the hits keep coming with record inflation, exploding electricity prices, and home asking prices are beginning to crater. Why? Because mortgage rates are approaching 7%. And they're approaching 7% because the Fed is trying to get a handle on exploding inflation. So it's also important to note that average Americans have lost approximately 25 to 30% of their retirement in 401ks under Joe Biden's watch. But now Joe Biden feels unleashed, if you will, to provide economic advice to foreign leaders. So he's criticizing the Prime Minister of Great Britain. She should do a better job. Well, why doesn't Joe Biden take his own advice? Yeah. And I think it's a bit idiotic for him to suggest that things are going wonderful in the United States while eating ice cream, because he reminds every American of Marie Antoinette, who said to the poor people of France hundreds of years ago, let them eat cake. Essentially, Joe Biden is saying to the American people, if you are poor, if you've got problems feeding your family, why not eat some ice cream? Yeah. And I just think that illustrates beyond question that he is continuing to suffer from nothing less than a brain freeze.
And there's no end in sight. So, you know, if you've dropped, as the reports are, an average of 25% off your savings under the Biden administration, but it's not like, okay, today it's stopped. Like the most predictions are it will get worse.
Absolutely. And inflation is continuing. And that's one of the things that Joe Biden consistently denies. He's essentially saying, well, we've essentially stopped inflation in the United States. That's untrue. Gas prices are up 18%. Egg prices are up 33%. Electricity prices are up by double digits. And I believe, even though he won't admit this, that with respect to energy prices, Joe Biden absolutely loves it. Why? Because this provides a pathway, at least according to the Democrats, to a transition to green energy. Solar power, electric cars. What he doesn't seem to realize, of course, is that electric cars, they run on fossil fuel. 70% of the electricity in the United States is generated by fossil fuel. And so Joe Biden is a man who is basically paralyzed by his own contradictions and his inability to understand basic economics. The Democrats continue to pass all of these laws, including the quote-unquote Inflation Reduction Act, Well, when is inflation going to come down? Those are legitimate questions that the American people are asking.
So I kind of want to flip the way, because we've talked about usually this would be, and I think it is a great sign for Republicans. But if these election results, it looks like the House is going to go Republican, but the Senate does not. I mean, it makes me think that, again, that will embolden them to think that, you know what, yeah, we took a hit in the House, but this happens with, new presidents. They come in, it's pretty common. And if we kept the Senate, even if it's by one vote, the Democrats do, they're going to feel like, what we're doing, we didn't get rejected by the American people, so they're buying into our strategy to some extent.
I think that's correct, because one of the things to keep in mind is the Democrats are gifted with arrogance and hubris. They believe in their own press releases. So I hope the American people are prepared to send the Democrats a very strong message over the next 3 or 4 weeks.